So if you guys have been seeing the news, it looks like the genocide in Gaza is going to end very soon. The hostage has been released. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to stop talking about these things, because the IDF needs to be held accountable, because there is not a shortage of videos of these individuals committing war crimes over and over and over again. And as I always say, I'm not trying to generalize. This is not obviously every single IDF soldier, but there's a clear pattern, and we have to talk about these things because, trust me, it can happen again, right? If it happened twice, it can happen again. These people have been oppressed since 1948 in their own home country. So the first video I'm going to show you guys is, I can't even explain what's happening in this video because there is no words to describe what these fellas are doing, right? There is a school in the West Bank, and they literally destroy it for no reason other than just to destroy it. There is no, as they say, they want to destroy Hamas. They want to get rid of, individuals that are threats towards, their sovereignty. This is kids in a classroom, and they destroy it. Let's watch the clip. There's not a single thing that can justify what these IDF soldiers are trying to do. Obviously, we know what their end goal is. They want the West Bank all for themselves. Even though there's an ethnic, cleansing happening in Gaza, they're still focused on getting all of West Bank to their Israeli settlers. And it's very sad to see. Also, they tried to close the door on the kids that were inside the building, and they knew the intentions that they had. They knew they were going to destroy the building. So how can you be so wicked to close the door on kids in their own school just to destroy it? That they had to literally jump out of the window? I genuinely hope all of these videos are AI, because I'm losing hope in humanity. Let's keep watching the clip. To think that there's so much empty space all across the West Bank. Literally, there's nothing in all of those places surrounding that school. Yet they still wanted to destroy a school for kids in that area. How low can you go as an individual? There's something wrong with all of these individuals in this specific video. It's not generalizing, because there's not a single IDF soldier that is trying to stop this, right? They lack empathy, these specific individuals. This is not anti-Semitic. This is just factual. This does not look good in any way, shape, or form. You cannot twist this story in any way other than trying to take over this promised land, right? It's very wicked. But let's just go to the next thing, because as I said, there is not a shortage of things you can talk about when it comes to the IDF. And I believe that everyone that has a phone, internet connection, they have an obligation to spread the word of these things happening all across the globe. So let's look at this other thing right here. So I don't understand how we can call this a war. When has there ever been a point in war where you have time to pose with people's underwears, ladies' underwears? This goes against everything that a human being is supposed to stand for. And yes, this is also an act of war crime, right? This is considered a war crime under international law. It falls under outrage upon personal dignity, in particular humiliation and degrading treatment, right? And it's also prohibited in the Geneva Conventions. So these acts are not horrible only, they're also sexualizing humiliation, a form of psychological or more moral violence, especially when it's directed at civilians or in occupied areas. Imagine that this is probably some innocent family's home, and this is how they have this, war that they call. It's not a war if you have time to pose with people's underwear. It's absolutely insane. So, in short, displaying a woman's underwear as a trophy in war is not only disrespectful, it's a serious violation of international law. And I wish every one of them is held accountable in this life and in the hereafter, inshallah. Now, the next clip I'm going to show you guys will also give you more understanding of how corrupt some of these IDF soldiers can be. And obviously, I'm not generalizing because this is coming from their own members, former members to be more precise. Let's keep watching. Well, let's watch this clip to be precise. Let's watch.
If I were born Palestinian, I probably would have joined one of the terror organizations.
We are told that the IDF doing everything to avoid civilian casualties is a blunt lie. Straight lie. It's a hard statement to say about my own army, but it's the truth.
So I hope this gives you a clearer view of what we're dealing with. That if someone can say this about their own army on camera and say that they're not trying to avoid killing civilians, right? And it should be also known that they have some very crazy tactics when it comes to dealing with attacks, right? For example, the Hannibal Directive, if you guys know what that is. If you don't, you have to search it up because it's very, very, very crazy. It's very hard to explain. But it will give you a sense of what these IDF soldiers and what the Israeli government is making sure these IDF soldiers have to do. It's very wicked, to say the least. And I genuinely hope, now that we know that the genocide will soon be over, I hope there's big changes because I believe everyone can be forgiven because at the end of the day we're all sinners. But to be prideful and boast the way these IDF soldiers are, it's very sad to see. I've seen many videos where they commit war crimes and they just laugh after as if it's nothing, just to crack a joke or something. It's very sad to see. And as I said before, if you have a phone and network connection, please spread the word about anything because it's very, very simple to make a change. Even one person is sufficient for you to make a big change. So don't be afraid to speak the truth because the worst that can happen is already the inevitable. So I hope nothing that I said was wrong in this video or that anything that I said would lead to problems. I would, be very sad if that was the case. And I wish that I did not spread any misinformation because I genuinely only want to spread awareness. Nothing more. This is not anti Semitic or anything like that. I have nothing against Jews. At the end of the day, we're all Bani Adam, And even if you don't believe in religion or you have no faith, we're still all one species. So that's all for me. Spread love, not hate. And I will hope to see you guys in the next video if I live to see that day. Inshallah. Thank you guys.